are listening to Julia's Trucking Cafe News Hour. Hello and welcome to Julia's Trucking Cafe Trucking News Hour. Thank you for joining me this week. This week we're going to be talking about a bunch of different articles like usual. And our top story is nearly 70,000 diesel engines are recalled for fuel heater melting risk. We'll be talking about that later in the show. But first, a tornado rips off this building off a flatbed. Now you're going to see a shadow in the background over my, this is left side, but you know, it's actually my right shoulder. That is my co-driver playing with a mouse that has been, let's say, soaked in catnip. So yeah, she'll be flying through here trying to chase after her mouse while I'm recording the show. As you can see, she's got a little white tip on her tail. So that's the only way I can see her at night is through the tip. So if I laugh every once in a while, I'm trying to relax. It's one of those days, and you'll see her bouncing around with that. But anyways, let's get back to the news. So this tornado, this happened in Florida. It says that a tornado touched down in Marion County on April 20th around 10:15 in the morning. And the troopers say that a truck was hauling a 36-foot portable building southbound on Interstate 75 near mile marker 340 when the tornado touched down. It lifted the building off of the moving trailer, causing it to strike a southbound pickup truck. The tornado then carried the building across the northbound lanes of 75 and dumped it onto the grassy shoulder, as you see here, destroying it. Troopers say, thank goodness nobody was killed or injured. And Houston police are going to investigate the broker wage theft claims that after that driver protest that I spoke about on my last episode. So they're taking those claims seriously, and they're going to be investigating. Houston police say that they will launch an investigation into the accusations raised by dozens of truck drivers who took to the streets to demonstrate previously. About 75 independent truck drivers gathered on Houston's East Loop 610 to protest or honest prices on loads, fair fees from insurance companies, and broker regulations. Specifically, the drivers were attempting to draw attention to brokers who failed to pay for work that they completed. The protest caused a significant traffic disruption, they're calling it. In other words, it was a parking lot. Police eventually moved the protesters to a parking lot on Interstate 10 and Federal Way. Houston police cited all of the demonstrating drivers on misdemeanor charges. You need a permit in order to protest. One woman is arrested for inciting a riot, also a misdemeanor charge. The police chief met with the protesting drivers and told them that it was not permissible to block roadways during protest activities and that they should work with police to find ways to demonstrate appropriately. He said, quote, there's a distinct line between the First Amendment and criminal offenses, end quote. He also issued a statement indicating he was taking accusations of non-payment by brokers seriously. According to the account on Twitter, quote, theft of wages in it is inexcusable and a criminal offense. The detectives team will be initiating a criminal investigation into the allegations of widespread theft of wages. We won't tolerate exploitation of hardworking people or unlawfully impeding the movement of traffic. And a delivery truck overturns in Maryland, covering the roadway with beer. Maryland authorities say that 2 people were hurt in a single vehicle crash left the roadway splattered with a shipment of beer. This happened April 21st around 9 o'clock in the morning in Montgomery County, Maryland. Authorities say that 2 people were inside the delivery truck when it overturned at Connecticut Avenue and Georgia Avenue, and 1 person was trapped inside and required to be cut out. The driver of the truck reportedly suffered trauma injuries in the crash, was taken to the hospital. The passenger suffered non-life-threatening injuries and was also taken to the hospital as a precaution. The collision left the roadway covered in boxes of beer and required, quote, significant cleanup before the road was reopened around noon. The cause of the crash is still under investigation. And Daimler is, now there's 2 separate recalls going on. This is not the first one that I talked about. This is a different one. So Daimler is recalling 63,000 international trucks for exterior lighting issue. Daimler North America recently issued a recall for tens of thousands of trucks for a lighting defect. Daimler recently notified the NHTSA, which stands for National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, of a recall impacting 63,175 Freightliner and Western Star trucks. I'm sorry, not international, I misspoke. Freightliner and Western Star trucks. According to NHTSA documents, quote, the rear reflective tape may be partially covered by the mud flap hanger bracket, which may reduce the vehicle's visibility to other drivers on the road, and it's a DOT violation. As such, these vehicles will fail to comply with the requirements of the FMVSS number 108, quote, lamps, reflective devices, and associated equipment, end quote. The exterior lighting issue could increase the chances of a crash, the documents say. The truck's models affected by the recall include 2006 to 2020 Freightliner Columbia, 2006 to 2021 Freightliner Business Class M2, 2007 to 2020 Freightliner Coronado, 2014 to 2021 Freightliner 122 SD, 2007 Sterling A 9500, 2006 Freightliner Argosy, 2006 to 2007 Sterling AT 9500, 2008 to 2021 Freightliner Cascadia, 2006 to 2008 Freightliner Classic, 2006 to 2011 Freightliner Century Class, 2006 to 2010 Freightliner FLD, and 2017 Western Star 5700. And in our next story, team truckers are caught with 4.8 million in suspected cocaine. Canadian authorities say that 2 truck drivers were arrested and charged after authorities seized a large amount of cocaine from their vehicle during a border crossing. This happened back in March 17th, which I reported on. Authorities say that the team drivers were 31-year-old Sukhdeep Singh and 26-year-old Indirjit Singh. Don't ask me where they get those names from. Both from Ontario. They were referred for a secondary inspection as they crossed Ambassador Bridge. During the secondary inspection, officers discovered 38 kilos of suspected cocaine mixed in with commercial load of citrus fruit. The estimated street value of the seized drugs is $4.8 million. Both drivers were arrested by Royal Canadian Mounted Police and charged with importation of controlled substance and possession for the purpose of trafficking. The incident still remains under investigation, like most of them do. And truckers park on an airport runway to load 600,000 pounds of medical supplies during this virus. A group of truck drivers working from an Illinois-based carrier recently went above and beyond to coordinate the delivery of desperately needed medical supplies during this virus. GP Transco was tapped to coordinate in complex unloading and delivery of hundreds of thousands of pounds of medical supplies and equipment coming to the U.S. from Malaysia. Company leaders and drivers didn't hesitate to make it happen. On April 15th, with the supplies arriving on a massive AN-124 cargo plane, GP Transco assembled their team on the runway at the Chicago Rockford International Airport. After the plane touched down, the team coordinated with airport staff to unload the medical supplies onto the waiting trucks as quickly as possible, working overnight and into the early morning hours in the cold. During the multiple-day operation, GP Transco moved over 200,000 pounds of medical supplies per day to facilities throughout the Midwest. Their team of truckers were able to move a total of more than 600,000 pounds of medical supplies over the course of 3 days. If you would like to watch the video of how they did this, if you're a newbie driver out here, to me, as being an older driver, I mean, it's nothing but a thing. You do what's part of the job. But if you're a newbie out here and never seen, or not not really a truck driver and want to see something like this, there's a video at the bottom of this article that I'll have in the show notes at juliastruckatcafe.com under cafe menu. Then scroll down to the show notes and look for episode 82, and for the Heroes Truckers Park on the Airport Runway title to the article, excuse me, that you'll be able to watch this video. Like I said, there again, my explanation is that I just don't want to have a copyright strike on this. And a trucking firm is to lay off 1,000 workers during this crisis. This was reported April 23rd. One of the largest suppliers of trucking and logistics services in Canada announced a major layoff. Calgary-based Mullen Group Limited announced the layoff of approximately 1,000 workers. The layoffs are described as temporary, but it isn't clear when the workers will be able to return to work. No one does know at the moment. We're trying to open up, as we all know, but I mean, it goes day by day. Mullen Group says they will provide $5 million toward an assistance fund for staff members. They say they were, quote, basically on target to meet our expectations in terms of financial performance until mid-March, but that, quote, once the full extent of the virus started to become evident, demand deteriorated, which we all know, in many sectors of the economy, directly impacting several of their businesses. Mullen Group says that they're optimistic about their ability to bounce back after this virus subsides. Once the economy starts to recover, we will be well positioned to take advantage of the inevitable opportunities that arrive during challenging times. The company said, a CEO of a large employer in Canada, it is important to also talk about another consequence of this crisis. That is the devastating impact the government-mandated closures are having on so many industries, businesses, and the economy. He's not exaggerating by stating that the job losses in the private sector are staggering, which we all know. The bottom line is that this health crisis is hurting a lot of people. Obviously, all of us hope that the steps taken by the governments will be successful, but realistically, I doubt if we will know for quite some time. They're independently owned business and provide both oil field services and trucking and logistics services. And a fast food giant turns their corporate headquarters into a free drive-through for truckers. Now, I will be opinionated in this article. If you're a trucker with a taco craving, only from April 24th to May 1st, you may just be in luck as one of the nation's largest fast food chains turn their California corporate headquarters into a free drive-through. Don't worry about the rest of us, guys. You know, no big deal. Taco Bell recently announced their Truck Through at a HQ event to be held at corporate headquarters in Irvine, California, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on May 24th and May 1st. The company also held an April 17th Truck Through event. During the event, Taco Bell turned their headquarters driveway into a makeshift drive-through for those in the workforce who drive large essential service vehicles, including semi-trucks, fire trucks, ambulances, and police vehicles. In other words, it was for local people around LA. The company notes that many of these vehicles won't fit in a standard drive-through. You think? At the drive-through, truckers will be able to pick up a free cravings box with a Crunchwrap Supreme bean burrito, cinnamon twist, and a Baja Blast. The event is taking place at Irvine, California. I'm sorry, not Irvine, not LA. Drivers who want to take part are asked to Glen Bell Way and follow signage. You can click on the bottom of the article for more of the event, but it's already done past at the time of my recording of this video because there again, I'm always behind the 8 ball. With working 70 hours a week, you know, that happens. And sorry about that. Now it's time to take a short break. Let's take a short break. This episode of Julia's Trucking Cafe is brought to you by My Patriot Supply. As truck drivers, we all know what it's like to be at a shipper's or receiver's and have to wait to be loaded for hours on end. Am I right? Especially produce coolers and paper mills. That's why you need to be prepared with extra food in your truck, especially with the bad weather coming in, like it is over here in Kansas, up in the Dakotas and Minnesota. 90 was shut down, Interstate 94 was shut down, along with 29. What are you going to do if there's no food and a truck stop was without power? That's why you need to stay prepared with My Patriot Supply. Now it's not what you're thinking. My Patriot Supply is delicious emergency food. They have food kits that are good up to 25 years. They come in a slimline tote that you can easily store in your food pantry or under your bunk. I can speak from experience. After living through Hurricane Katrina, we were without power for 10 days, me, my mother, and son, and I. If it weren't for the MREs that were flown into us, we wouldn't have any food. There was 4 60-foot pine trees that broke in half during that storm and crossed my driveway and landlocked me in. That's when My Patriot Supply would have come in handy. If I knew then what I know now about My Patriot Supply, I definitely have some of this food stockpiled in my pantry. Now, for a limited time, you could get a 1-week supply of food in a handy and neat-looking ammo can, like you see here, for just $39. Look at all that food you get. It's a week's worth of breakfast, lunch, and dinners, just for 39 bucks. How do you get it? Where do you go, do you ask? Well, I'll tell you. Just go to my website at juliastruckingcafe.com, click on the Emergency Food Supply tab, scroll down and click on any of the images to find out more information and get yours today. They even offer gluten-free food for under $100. Winter weather is here. What would you do if the interstate was shut down, just like I was talking about? You need to get My Patriot Supply and get it today. Welcome back to Julia's Trucking Cafe Trucking News Hour. Thanks so much for coming back and joining me. Let's continue on with the news. CDL Life launches a nationwide campaign to feed America's truck drivers. Truck drivers, they say, are putting their lives on the line to deliver the supplies needed to keep America running during a time of this unprecedented crisis. I'm so tired of that word. Anyway, and that's why CDL Life is calling on the trucking industry to support these heroes with a nationwide effort to provide them with free meals as a token of our gratitude. In other words, it's bad enough that us drivers are having to pinch pennies to be able to pay our bills and pay, you know, for something to eat and everything, but now CDL Life wants us to donate to help drivers get free meals. Truckers across the U.S. have stepped up to keep the country moving as this virus emergency puts the nation's supply chain to the test. However, as drivers are working longer and harder, many feel they've been abandoned as restaurants have closed, restaurants have been closed, and grocery stores have become increasingly restrictive during this virus. I'm not going to call it a pandemic. For more than a month now, truckers have reported struggling to just find a meal, which is ironic and sad considering that many of them are hauling food and other essential supplies to be consumed by others. No driver should ever have to go hungry, I agree, because he or she can't find food, and that's why they launched a Fueling Our Heroes campaign. Their goal is to purchase and distribute as many fresh meals as possible to truck drivers across the country. Yeah, right here. Hello, I'm in Illinois. To join the fight with the Fueling Our Heroes effort, they ask you to go visit their GoFundMe page. The mission will be spearheaded by CDL Sadie Church, as well as YouTube celebrity and truck driver Brittany Richardson. CDL Life never asked me. A church in Richardson will be arriving in California to pick up a trailer full of healthy meals. They'll then deliver to drivers across the country at rest areas and truck stop locations. Never seen it. Quote, right now, drivers on the front line are making sure our grocery stores are full. They're making sure we have all the supplies that we need. So the least that we can do is make sure that they're fed, Church said. That's funny. Never seen it. Been from Washington all the way over to Connecticut. Haven't seen them. So I don't know where they're at, but have not seen them. Anyway, in other news, a truck driver... Oh, let's see. Sorry, wrong story. There you go. Let's get this one first. Police are asking for help identifying a truck logo to help solve a murder case. Now, this picture is really, really grainy, and I've looked on their Facebook page, and this is on April 23rd. The Louisville Police Department put out a call for help in identifying a logo on a truck in photo connection with a shooting death that happened earlier that week. Police emphasize that the truck driver is not a suspect or a person of interest, only that he or she may have information on the homicide at this business location. On April 20th, around 2 in the morning, police responded to a call about a 54-year-old man who had been shot by 2 suspects during a robbery attempt at a business located on Valley Ridge Boulevard in Louisville, Texas. The man was taken to the hospital but later passed away from his injuries. If you have any information, you're asked to call 972-219-TIPS. That's 972-219-TIPS. You could also text the phrase TIP-LPD and your message to number 847-411. That's 847-411. Text the phrase TIP-LPD if you have any information about this, or you've seen that truck or anything like that. And now this story, a trucker faces a prison after he's allegedly caught with $1.7 million in cash. A Michigan truck driver is facing serious federal charges related to drug trafficking after he is caught with $1.7 million in cash. Now, I've looked it up in the, excuse me, my nose is itching. In the court system, and this happened in Brownsville. A 51-year-old man is set to appear in federal court on charges of money laundering and conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute cocaine. Edgardo Serrano, he's from New Boston, Michigan, made an appearance on April 24th at 10:30 in the morning. The complaint charges Serrano, which was filed April 18th, that he had $1.7 million in cash. His truck was searched at a mechanic shop in Hidalgo on April 17th, which led to the discovery of the money. The investigation revealed that he had been driving the vehicle, and the complaint further alleges that he was in the Rio Grande Valley to pick up a load of carrots, but that appeared to be a cover for what was actually a cocaine shipment destined for Florida. The hidden cash was allegedly the proceeds of illegal narcotics sales in Florida. If convicted, he faces up to life in federal prison and a possible $10 million fine. So I do not know what happened. I believe he was released on bond after that. Hold on one second. I'm pretty sure later on I found out that he was released on bond. So we'll keep you updated on that story. And a congressman thanks a trucker who shielded a motorist from gunfire on Interstate 70. An Illinois congressman has issued formal recognition to a truck driver who came to the assistance of a motorist who was being shot at on a Missouri interstate earlier in the month of April. On April 22nd, Congressman John Shimkus, sorry if I butcher your name, issued a formal memo in the Congressional Record to honor truck driver Caleb Leidick. The memo reads as follows from the article. Mr. Shimkus, Madam Speaker, I would like to offer my sincerest gratitude to my constituent, Mr. Caleb Leidick, for his heroic actions on April 7, 2020. On the afternoon of April 7th, Missouri State Highway Patrol and deputies with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office responded to the report of a shooting on eastbound Interstate 70 near the 175-mile marker in Montgomery County, Missouri. The initial investigation indicated that a driver of a passenger car had fired shots from a moving vehicle, striking and disabling another vehicle also traveling the same way, eastbound, causing that vehicle to come to rest near the 175-mile marker. Thankfully, no injuries were reported. Troopers subsequently learned that after the vehicle came to a stop, two tractor-trailer drivers parked their trucks around the van to shield it from additional gunfire. He later learned that Caleb Leidick of Springerton, Illinois, was one of the courageous drivers who placed himself and his truck in harm's way to protect the disabled van. Caleb's actions that day were both courageous and selfless. I am grateful for the men and women like Caleb who rise to the occasion in a moment of danger. Madam Speaker, I thank Caleb for his bravery and wish him safe travels as he continues his essential work. The suspected shooter, who I'm not going to picture here, I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt, 28-year-old Chad Michael Kennedy was later located and arrested. He had been charged with 3 counts of assault first degree, 1 count of armed criminal action, and 6 counts of unlawful use of a weapon. Kennedy later told police that he believed that there was something suspicious about the vehicle he opened fire on, and that he, quote, could not allow the vehicle to leave the state of Missouri, end quote. Kennedy reportedly attempted to pull over the vehicle, then displayed a weapon to the vehicle's occupants, and finally fired multiple rounds at the vehicle. Missouri State Highway Patrol also issued thanks to the 2 truckers. Quote, special thanks to the remarkable truck drivers who shielded the victims after this incident. So kudos, good job to Caleb and the other unnamed driver. You are April's driver of the month for Julia's Truck and Cafe. So thank you again. Keep up the great work. And in other news, multiple Michigan rest areas closed due to layoffs. The Michigan Department of Transportation announced that they would shutter 5 rest area locations due to layoffs, starting April 25th through May 10th. Sault Ste. Marie, Monroe, Coldwater, New Buffalo, and Detroit. Both restroom facilities, parking lots, and ramps will be unavailable at these locations for the next 2 weeks, with the exception of Detroit Welcome Center, which has shared a parking lot. Additionally, the Menominee and Iron Mountain rest area locations have been closed or will remain closed indefinitely, Michigan DOT says. Michigan DOT says that the rest area closures are necessary due to layoffs of workers who clean the facilities. They say most of the state's other 63 rest areas remain open at this time, with the exception of 5 that are closed seasonally: St. Ignatius, Tobenappie, Hebron, Ludington, and Hart. One that is closed due to drainage is Chelsea. And now to our top story. Nearly 70,000 diesel engines recalled for fuel heater melting. Cummins is issuing a major recall for a fuel heater defect that could result in a fire or a crash. On March 31st, Cummins issued a recall for 68,605 medium-duty B6.7 engines for a fuel system issue that could cause plastic within the fuel heater to melt and catch fire. The defect could also cause an engine stall, which would increase the risk of a crash. After being informed of the issue by Cummins, Navistar issued 2 additional recalls of several models of international trucks and IC buses outfitted with the B6.7 engines. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration numbers for these recalls are 20V-219 and 20V-220. Vehicles affected by the Navistar recall include 2017 to 2020 International Workstar, 2017 to 2020 International Durastar, 2018 to 2021 International MV, 2018 to 2021 International HV. Sorry about the delay. If you enjoy the show and would like to support me, the links to do so are in the description below. I ask that you please subscribe. Please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button below. Whether you're on BitChute or on YouTube, please go ahead. It's free. I will never, ask you to pay for watching me stumble through and stutter through on the show. I greatly appreciate all of you who tune in every week to hear me and watch me and listen to me on the cafe. If you are new and like to check out, in the description I have links if you want to listen to the podcast of where I'm at. Also on Spotify, Spreaker, Pandora, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Don't forget to join or pass by if you're on Facebook. Like our page on Facebook, and also our discussion group, Julia's Truck and Cafe Regulars. I share recipes on the website at juliastruckandcafe.com. Everything is under the cafe menu, and kind of like a restaurant, I'm trying to keep the cafe theme going. So you look under the cafe menu, and there's a drop-down menu, and you can see recipes about cooking in your truck. I also have a discussion group there. All the way at the bottom is Julia's Truck and Cafe Happy Hour. I have show notes there. I have the archives there. You can go all the way back and listen to what I was just doing the podcast and not the video. If you don't mind, please subscribe to our email list at juliastruckandcafe.com/newsletter. Excuse me, coffee. I can send you the show notes, the list of the articles, or the articles themselves right to your inbox. So you can see that I'm not BSing you and see the pictures and the videos that I've been talking about. This way, and you also don't have to come back to the website and try to hunt around, that it's right in your inbox. In the future, if I have new things coming out, which I will, you'll be on the email list. You'll have priority in getting those new things and know about those new things that I have in the works. Before I forget, please feel free to leave a comment on the bottom of any episode that you listen to. I read each and every one. And if you have any idea for an upcoming show, please feel free to email me. My email is info@juliastruckandcafe.com. So thanks again for listening to me stumble and mutter through all this mess. Take care. Hope everybody's staying safe during this virus. And until next time. You have been listening to Julia's Truck and Cafe Truckin' News Hour. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Take care. Have a blessed day.